Hello team, welcome for the second session on those two free webinars that we plan to do specifically on how can we help you through your journey of getting the software testing job and make that whole process very simple and effective so that the results can be really benefiting you. So in the previous session, which the video has been put on to the ITeLearn website, and I've also pasted the link in the chat, we've discussed about two areas primarily. The do's and don'ts of what your resume must have, how you will have to go aggressively and showcase your skill sets because the larger audience is going to be the search engines which are going to search for your resume. And then we have the real content as to what you've done. So one additional tip team that I would definitely want to give you is what happens if you only have training knowledge, you only attended a training program, or if you did a live project for let's say 2 or 3 months only. That is fine. Even if you did a 2 months project, you can still write about it at length. Talk about everything, every tool, every concept, every framework that you've used or was part of the project. Again, please note the audience is one for the search engine. At the same time, the end user, when they see it, they look at the quality of your experience rather than the quantity of number of years. All right. And for today's session team, there were a lot of questions that we could not handle because of lack of time in the first session. So maybe we can start with that, or we'll continue with the job board presentation that Amulya was doing, do a little discussion on that, keep it very open-ended. So we'll address the questions maybe after that. And one request to all is to consolidate the questions and put it for the better reference is to go to the URL that I've put in the chat and please scroll down to the place where you'll see the start the discussion and start pasting your questions here, please. So it'll be easy for us to answer on this, and that will remain with us even for future reference, and it'll help the viewers looking at the video. So I'm going to put here, hello all, kindly post your questions on the about topic out here. All right, just a simple message that I put here, team. So you can start posting your questions and we can discuss them on them. All right, great. So let's get started with the continuation for Amulya. Remember what we were doing yesterday with was it Career Builder?
Yes, Karthik.
Right. Okay.
Career Builder.
All right. So why don't we make you the presenter? You're already the presenter. I'm gonna make you the presenter so you can share your screen, and we will talk a little bit about once we've done the registration, once we log in, what kind of an alerts we can set, and so on, and maybe one other application if you have any access to, let's say like Dice or Indeed or Monster.
Sure, Karthik. So my screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, Amulya.
Cool. This Career Builder itself. So first I'll just show Career Builder because I've opened it already. Just a moment. I can minimize it here, right, Karthik?
No, I don't know.
There in the corner.
Okay, Priya, I muted you because got unmuted. Looks like you joined back as a trainee, and I made you the organizer right now, so you should be good. So yes, Amulya, we can see your screen. There's no problem. The GoToMeeting box is not visible to
Okay.
you. So we can see the career builders.
Okay, cool. Okay, I just wanted to scroll at Karthik. So here if we go, yeah. So once we've uploaded our profile, we'll get all these recommended profiles or whatever is more similar to the job specifications that you've entered. And if you scroll down, you'll see create job alerts. So that can be daily or weekly, whatever it is. So I would suggest that you keep checking your resumes on all the job portals that you've entered very frequently as possible, because that makes your resume look active for the job portals. So that is how the recruiters notice your resume. So in this, I've created a job alert, probably like weekly as I said, and you keep receiving similar jobs to your email. So this one is for one of the resumes that I had uploaded yesterday. So you also have the option to save job and email job, like if you have a specific requirement, and over here you can search with all the keywords that you want. So as many keywords as possible, keep entering and keep searching in that manner so that you'll find all the specific jobs in this particular list. And as required, you can, if you have a location preference, would suggest initially don't add that as your location preference in the profile. Let your profile be as open as possible. But when you are searching for a particular job, you can search it with the location preference over here. The resume that you're uploading, let it be as open as possible. Be it job preference, even the CTC, you should have CTC probably in the resume, but then when you're searching, get specific jobs or job alerts, and then you can go and probably select that particular, save that job. Karthik, apart from that, I have few suggestions. Do you want me to, or you've got something?
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about managing these alerts. So let's look at some of the alerts. What I would recommend is have a few alerts, team, like 3 to 4 alerts. Keep one for, let's say, manual testing in a specific location or geography. Keep one for automation testing, including Selenium and HPUFT. Keep some more for Selenium developer kind of profiles and so on. And if you're someone who's aggressively looking at opportunities, then having daily alerts will really help. Now, the setting up these kind of alerts, every job portal typically has them. So that should not be a big challenge. But can you log in, Amulya, into the account, actual account where the profile and everything is there?
Yes, Karthik.
There's one tip that is very, very important that the participants must note. Once we log in, what I wanted to show you, team, is that the ones which show up from a recruiter standpoint, you're logging in as a candidate. But if you log in as a recruiter, which are usually the premium accounts on these sites, and where we can search for candidates and profiles, the way that the things will come up on top is very important. It's just like Google search. If we have a website, let's say ITeLearn, so we have to work towards seeing how can Google recognize us and get us on the top of the listing for certain keywords. So you need to ensure there are keywords properly present in your resume, repeated multiple times to have better strength. That is one team. Second thing is every 3 to 4 days, if not 3 to 4 days, at least once a week, you must go and change something a little bit in your resume. I'm not saying that your profile will change or your career is changing every week. Just add one more line of sentence. to a project or change some format and re-update it. So what that will do is in the listings which the recruiters will be searching for, it will come up that yes, this particular candidate is actively looking for jobs. He is making those necessary changes frequently, not changes, but is currently available and also qualifies for the right keywords. That is very important, team, to do on your profile pages in these job sites. Okay. One more very important thing is you should have only one resume across all the job sites. It should not be duplicate, team, at all. Always remember that. And ensure that your contact details, everything are clearly mentioned and so on. When we continue with the remaining part of session, which Priya will handle, she's going to give certain tips on the telephonic and the in-person interview and how do we handle them. But from this point, yes. So is this one of the profiles, dummy profile things that we will use for demo? Mulya? Yeah.
Yes, Karthik.
Okay.
Yes, Karthik.
Let's go to
So
the
this is already logged in. We have the profile here.
excellent. So resumes is where.
Sorry, Karthik.
That's fine. Let's look at profile one. Then we go back to resumes. Okay. Maximize the screen for me, please. Oh, yeah. Okay, there you go. So we have the first name, last name, postal code, phone. And again, um, look at everything, team. Every work site, every website is going to be different job portal. Something is very important. So work status here, please specify it. Not specified is there, right? You need to say that are you, look at the options please, currently working or actively there, what kind of a visa you have, and so on. All right. Since this is US based, you want to make sure that you provide that information, team. So there is no second thought about what you can give. What you have currently is what you need to give. You cannot say anything more than that, because once you get the call, once you get to the background verification and so on, it is going to be what it is, right? Let's go to, so this is the overall profile. Let's go to the options again, the settings for this on top, please. Okay, so there are a few things. Cover letters is the other one. Very critical to have a right cover letter. And you can Google and find out what kind of cover letters go well and so on. For the JPAC team, we will guide you with some kind of formats and templates for cover letters. We will have those emailed to you. You can use them and place them here. It's like a quick summary and talking about what we are trying to position, how we're trying to position. That's what a cover letter will typically talk about. All right. What else is there here? Saved and applied jobs. Yeah, this is the other very important thing, teams. When you do your constant search, save those into your profile, into your account. And you can then look at which you want to apply for. And how many jobs should you apply? There's no specific formula, team. But whatever seems relevant, I believe you should apply. No one has spoken with you yet in this whole process of job hunt. No one has seen you. The only thing that is visible right now is your resume. So how do we know who is the top most automation engineer or software tester in the whole world? And how do we recognize that from a different one who's just a beginner? Just by looking at the resume, team, and the kind of experience, the kind of skill set they have, right? So your resume is your strength. Give yourself the best possible benefit by ensuring you apply to as many positions that you feel relevant on a constant basis. And even when you search for, don't always use specific keywords. Don't say QA only or don't say Selenium only. Try and use a few combinations and keep searching, team. And those should be set as saved searches as well. There should be at least about a dozen combinations of different things that you're looking at. From a location standpoint, here is my take, team. This is my strong feedback to everyone. There are certain times in a career we need to take a lot of effort at the beginning. And that means that a lot of sweat, a lot of hard work comes out at the very beginning. If you ask me, and let's say that you are someone who's beginning into IT industry or testing, I do understand a lot of you will have issues with regarding travel or family constraints and so on. But please be ready for relocation or telecommute. The reason I say this is that first 6 months in the industry is very critical. Try for your local ones aggressively, but if there is something which is a little far away, do not rule it out. Put your sweat, put your hard work in that. It will pay out for the next 10 years. We don't do that today because of our smaller challenges. Our challenges only will continue to grow a little bit larger team. So yesterday when I asked the audience what are the different job sites, you've come up with 7 to 8 top job sites. So what comes to my mind is very simple. Dice, Monster, Career Builder, Indeed. What else is their team? A few things like Glassdoor and so on, LinkedIn, a few things. So look at these, set up some kind of uh, accounts in these things, and it should really go well from their team for everyone. All right. So Amulya, anything else you want to show on a different website, or are we good here?
If you want me to open dice or some, I will, Karthik, but most of it is a similar thing.
Right.
The profile part, it's the basic profile that we have to upload and go ahead. So it's the same thing, more or less.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So that's exactly the fact, team. So from that point of view, it is got to be almost the same. What is important are these few tips that we have done. What I'm going to try and do is I'll sit with my team and try and get these tips points that we discussed in the previous session and this session into a document and get it, put it on the website. All right. Okay, so team, like I said, questions that you have, please put it on that website so it's easy for us to respond back even when we are offline. Okay, rather than putting the questions here, please. And I don't know why I can't see that. Questions, where is it? My tab of the questions is missing somehow. Okay, there you go. All right. So Priya, can I now make you the presenter, and will you be able to drive the discussion forward on the tips for the interviews?
Sure, Karthik. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I just made you the presenter. And team, before Priya starts, let me quickly introduce, actually, I should have introduced my team when we started the first session. So Manoj is our trainer and is also a tech guru, and he helps us through the trainings, live projects and so on, who spoke in yesterday's thing. He was talking the resumes. Amulya is very active on the JPACT and NEOT. She's part of what we call as products team with ITeLearn, and she's got about 2-3 other younger resources working with her who constantly help her. Priya Maini is our prime trainer in the areas of soft skills, communication skills, spoken English, and so on. She brings thousands of hours of experience that she has done in terms of training for various private organizations, corporations, and institutes, and she's now working full time with ITeLearn as part of our training team as well. So she is doing the communication skills as detailed training, but then her expertise in terms of certain tips can really help us in what we have as the agenda. Thank you, Priya, all yours now.
Thank you, Karthik. Welcome, team. Welcome to day 2 of how to get QA automation job quickly. So let me give you the agenda of what we are going to learn in today's session. So first, we are going to share tips and strategies on how to face successful interviews. So the 2 types of interviews we have are telephonic interview, and the second type is face-to-face interview. Now, we're going to start with value-loaded questions. Tips on how to face successful telephone and tips for a face-to-face interview. All right, and then finally, I'm going to sum it up with do's and don'ts. Okay, of interview handling. All right, so let's get started, team. So first things, value-loaded questions. So this include as a part of questions. First thing is, what is your greatest strength? Could be a part of your telephone conversation, or when you go for the interview, someone interviews you, okay, tell me one strength that you have. Or it could also be, what's your greatest weakness, or what are you passionate about? So when something that they want to know is, what are you passionate about apart from your work? And the next question is, if there was one thing that you would like to change in your past, what would that be and why? And something like, next question is, how long do you think you are willing to commit to this job? And the next question is, what is your boss going to talk about you? What will your boss say about you or your performance? About you or your performance. So how are we going to answer these questions? And something similar on these lines. See, now these questions generally are called as off-the-wall questions or value-loaded questions, not because they are difficult or near impossible to nail and answer perfectly, but because they are abstract and they are highly individualized. In terms of content, what exactly could be said when we come across these challenging questions? Now what we need to do is, we need to structure them, and how best we could come up with an expression or the way to answer these questions is something that they want us to know, and they are actually looking at. See, when the interviewer is talking to you, they have 10 minutes or 15 minutes time. In that 15 minutes, they need to shortlist you. First, they shortlist the CV. They like the keywords on there. They like your type of experience, this particular point. So now, if the question is, what's your greatest strength, and if we are applying for this particular position, see, let's say strengths. Okay. Team, so position is sales lead or program head, program manager, or your TL, team lead. Now they all have dual responsibility. Certainly be responsible for the team management. They have to take work. They need to distribute the work among the team, and also responsible for income generation. So now, in case someone, so the ideal way of answering this particular question would be something like this. I pride myself on my sales and marketing customer relations type skills, and I'm usually successful at any of these tasks that are assigned to me. First, responses to the questions are individualized. We can present these answers with a spark in the language and your expression that the interview panel is attracted and impressed by the skills and how you articulate the answer. So say something like this, like if you consider sales lead, you could also say that my friends say I would sell a swimsuit to an Eskimo. How does that sound? It sounds so different. It sounds so creative. So grab your attention by catchy words and expressions, sentences, body language, and the way we deliver the answer. So here we go. So catchy words, sentences, body language, and expressions play major role in answering these type of value loaded questions. We have something like first liners, which include be short, concise, and crisp with what we say. Alright team, so so you're almost there in terms of having successfully responded to this type of question. Now let's go to the next question, which is talk about your greatest weakness. Now what are the common answers that we expect when someone comes across this thing? We say like, okay, I don't have any weakness, or we can give a stack of all the flaws we have which will work against us. We cannot do that. So what would be the ideal answer for? Now, HR manager role or something like travel consultant. Now, these are the roles. We could definitely go ahead and apply for these as well. Now, see, this is again relevant to the designation and the position that we apply for, team. Understand that. So now someone coming for this position, HR manager role. So in case this person says one of my weaker area, improvement area or weaker section includes communication skills are weak. Now imagine the context. HR is there in the connect to communicate with the team. So this particular weakness there will certainly have a negative impact, and that person is not shortlisted, or does not pressure. Now, for instance, let's take travel consultant. Now, if I as a travel consultant, I feel emotionally sick, or the moment I leave my house, I feel homesick, I'm psychologically not strong. Do you think that as a part of my week, do you think I'm going to get the opportunity? So think that is relevant to your field. So think of a flow. So here we need to think of a flow. And what is expected from us is not a list of what is something that I'm actually not good at. However, so somewhat connected like this and state it honestly and naturally. So what we could do is we could say something like this. I'm aware of it. I'm working on overcoming it or circumventing it in some way. So be human and natural and work at the best version of who we could be. We could say this. As a team player, I tend to work very hard at my own tasks, but I have this inclination to also work on other tasks as in when they help, which I know is generous, but I have learned now to balance this out. I've learned a way to mentor them, to advise them, direct them, and letting them do their task. I have time to focus on my tasks. So something like this, team. See, this is okay. You apply for any job, you could say this as a team player. So you could say this as a team player. I tend to work hard on self and other tasks as well. So this is like I mentioned. So this type of answer is something that we actually need to share and something that they're actually looking forward to. All right. So let's move on to the third question. Passionate about apart from your work. Now this includes as simple as cooking or going or martial arts, hitting the gym, gardening, painting, anything. So now all of this. So this includes what are you passionate about? So apart from work. Now we all are passionate about something, however we do not value it and we underestimate what we do by way of hobbies, interests, or all are passionate about something, let's face it. But the problem is we do not place enough value on it, we do not talk enough about it, and when we do so, we say what a big deal. So even your routine activities, which are cooking, going for a walk, martial arts, gymming, gardening, painting, can be a relevant answer to this question. Now, instead of just saying I'm passionate about cooking or I like cooking, how to frame this answer? Nothing elevates me and my mood as much as cooking a lavish 5-course meal and calling all my friends and dining with them together. So how does this sound? In case, a one-liner like, I like cooking, and the elaborate good answer. Good. Okay. Something like, nothing elevates me and my mood as much as cooking a lavish 5-course meal and calling all my friends and with them together. Perhaps take for instance painting. There is joy of seeing the painting once it's complete. Or if we talk about martial art. Now what's martial art? I like to practice martial arts after my work. All right. So when I'm done with my work, some people would also say mountaineering. Now, if we refer to mountaineering in a post which is direct to something else, please be cautious of how you, of course, talk about what you're passionate about, because for mountaineering, you go in a group. It's not a solo activity, and for that, we need 2 to 3 weeks off. So we cannot apply for a position and then seek a leave. That certainly is not a good answer and not a good way to face this particular interview. All right. So
To add a couple more points there.
the fourth question is, if I had to change.
Can you hear me, Priya?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, Karthik.
Okay, great. So just thought I'll add a couple of points from my side as well. So I think, yes, some of the common
Sure.
questions
Yes.
that come up depending on the different types of people who are talking to you. If it is a consultant or a middleman who's trying to position you, then they will not talk about this. They'll focus totally on technical aspects and so on. But if it is someone like at a HR level for a more full-time position, these questions could come up. Anything that comes up as a question, team, I look at it in two ways. For example, exactly like this question, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? What are your passions? So I would answer it this way. Are you guys able to?
Karthik, your voice is breaking.
Yeah, I see that in the chat as well. Let me know if you can hear me now. Is it still breaking? Any better? Is my voice any better? All right. Looks like my audio is back. Is it any better now?
Yes, Karthik.
If it's breaking, let me know, team. I will try and switch to telephone directly. If not, let me try. So here is how my answer will be. In fact, honestly, personally, yes, I'm passionate about cooking. I'm passionate about traveling. But then I'll try and come to something which is more professional. And I'll put it this way. You know what? I'm also very passionate about learning new things. And I've realized that in this hunt of trying to go to different events, seminars, webinars, I'm able to expose myself to what else is happening in the industry and get some fine points. I think my voice is breaking, guys. Right? Okay. Let me rejoin. Priya, I'll try and join back. Why don't you continue in the meanwhile with the remaining things?
Sure, Karthik, thank you. I'll continue. Okay, so team, this leads us to the fourth question. This is if would that be, and why? All right, so here we could say something like this. I've told myself to do my next best thing, which is when such a situation arises and you do not have and you do not know how to tackle it. First things first, think on your feet, come up with the best possible solution for it and learn from it. Use it as some kind of an experience that will help me do work better, prevent such situations, and make sure that this particular thing is resolved. And such situations when I need to be facing them as and how they occur. So this way you can say that you have used every experience of your life as a means to make sure that your next choices are good choices, the right choices, and that you are able to take on any challenges that come your way. So this is the apt answer to the, go ahead and talk about this. Now the next question is okay, how long do you think, how long are you going to work here, or are you going to be committed? Now do you think we have a fixed answer for this? Do you think you can satisfy the HR or whoever the next the person is who interviews you? Because we don't know. If we say 3 years, is 3 years a good time? They can cross question. If you say 5 years, oh come on, tell me something new. So we do not have an ideal answer to this particular question. So the best way to work on this is, there is no fixed answer to this. We don't know what answer will satisfy the interviewer. As long as I'm able to contribute effectively and for my own satisfaction, and as long as my contribution is recognized, but I am here for a long haul. So that's how, for a long time, and as long as my contribution is recognized. Right, team, so let's move on to the next question. What would your boss say about you? I happen to be a self-motivated person. I like to be dynamic. I don't like to get stuck. So for that, I read, I sit on the internet, I attend workshops, I sign up for online coaching as well. So these things we could go ahead and say. And definitely my boss would always say, no doubt, that I was an asset. So my boss would say that I was always an asset. Fine, team. So that gets us to the okay, so we've succeeded these value loaded questions. Let's move on. How to appear for interview. Now interviews, we have telephone interview and face-to-face. So let's get some interview things that we need to keep in mind when we face telephone interview. So telephonic conversations. Okay, telephonic conversation. So verbal nods, and we have pause, ownership sentences, navigational words, and finally express clearly. So what are these verbal nods? Verbal nod phone conversation, very important, team. There are three major aspects of communication. First, body language. Second is your tone of, and third is words. So communication, words, tone of speech, and body language, right? So over phone, body language, yes, plays a major role. Words, certainly important. Major is got to do with your tone of voice or tone of speech. Now, someone over on the other end would certainly not be able to see you clearly. They can only make out through the way you express it clearly. So verbal nods will help us identify the answer. So some of the verbal nods include, I understand. Okay. All right, so and I know what you mean. Okay, great, we can do that. Absolutely fantastic. So these are your verbal nods. So this will help the conversation, of course, give it a boost and know that, okay, fine, you're not feeling shy, you're not, and you're not nervous on the phone. We kind of get shortlisted and selected in a telephone conversation. We could also use positive phrases, something like, let me check that and confirm. You can give any time according to your convenience, or please share your phone number. I like to monitor this on weekly basis. Yeah, I have a few questions. Okay. And what do we understand by positive phrases and ownership? So take an example. Show someone how to navigate or document a Word document, a Word doc. So when we show somebody this, what types of ownership sentences and these words that we could use, positive words. We could say something like this: system itself will help you, or can you put it, you could put it as you wish. If they ask about font size or what font is the ideal font, you could use any font of your choice. Click on the maximized, click how far it takes for you to be on the first page, and a few of your navigational words or navigational sentences would include: click on the back arrow towards bottom of the page, towards left hand side, towards the top of the page, in right hand side screen. So again, it is relevant to the discussion, see, to the topic. And what do we understand by express clearly? Express clearly. Phone conversation is so be sure of the words we use, the way we express. All right, move on, team, to the next part of this. So how to face interviews. Now how do we define interview? An interview is a conversation between two or more people, interviewer and the interviewee, where questions are asked by the interviewer to obtain information from or the interview. Now this is classified, this can be categorized into 4 parts. Before we attend the interview, attend in person. This is in-person interview. Okay. Do the process, conclude. So what are things we need to keep in mind when we do this? Okay, so before the interview, get your career goals in focus, identify your main strengths related to your job, gather specific accomplishments to back up your skills. Research about the company. Yes, whenever we go apply for certain position in a company, do a lot of research. When did it start? Who's the director? Who is the CEO? Of course, adds advantage. It adds value to however you're expressing it. So do your homework well. And yeah, so here I would certainly like to talk about your do's and don'ts of interviews. So do's and don'ts of interview handling. Okay, so first, be well prepared. Introduction. Be prepared with your self-introduction. This is your self-introduction. Have a good idea about the designation or the position that you apply for, and personality traits. Okay, so have good idea about your self-introduction, what position we are applying for, your personality traits, and okay, be well equipped with the best responses or response. We have venue, so time of interview, place, who to meet, their contact number. So these are all like, of course, pre-information and important information. We cannot, of course, go and look for that particular place. Have the venue, put it on your Google map, time of the interview, place, who to meet, their contact number, and carry your documents. Okay, documents, your, keep your CV and a copy of it. Okay, wear something comfortable. Anything, you feel trouser, shirt, blazer, tie, fine, but it needs to be comfortable. You need to not feel like, okay, I'm not right, I'm not feeling good, I don't have positive vibes. So wear something which you feel comfortable in. And avoid being negative or infusing emotional baggage in there. Okay, so get rid of psychological baggage, get rid of emotional baggage, and try and be positive. See, the moment we feel negative, we infuse negative vibes, and that's when, of course, someone would actually not take us or extend the offer. So be very careful and cautious about how you feel, because it's you who's got to keep the best foot forward and, of course, answer in a way, get selected. So maintain balance and composure when need be. Okay, this is a good opportunity which is coming my way. What do we do with our hands? Question. So place it on the chair or on your lap or even on the table, however you feel comfortable, but not too far and not too close, which again reveals that you are an introvert and not ready to open up. So what do we do with the hands? Place it appropriately on the chair and you know, look confident. Body language plays major role. So don't fiddle with your hand. Don't fiddle with the hands or you know, with as it may show that we are restless and nervous. Alright, so be sure of this. And hands, don't fiddle with it because it's a sign of being bombastic, perhaps revealing your nervousness and anxiety. So rest it decently on your chair or on the table. Make eye contact. Show them you care. Okay, and face all of them with if it's an interview, if it's an interview panel, look at everybody, look at everyone. Okay, look at everyone, not just one person. See, in the interview panel maybe 3 to 4 people sitting together and asking you questions. So one of them will certainly ask you at one point in time. Don't just answer, look at everybody and of course answer and go on. Okay team, so these are a few do's and don'ts to effective and tips and strategies to face successful interviews and get through them. I'm sure this would certainly help. Do you have any questions so far? Okay.
Right. Am I audible?
Yes, Karthik.
All right, great. Thank you, Priya. Thank you so much. Do you have any more slides? Because these specific topics, team, we really cannot do too much justice when we try and do it in an hour's time. And especially with what Priya was doing, she hardly got 20-25 minutes overall. But amazing tips, some of them even, just being aware that there is this way to do it is a significant leap for our team. Because a lot of times we are not aware of it, and that is stuck. All the hard work that you put for your resume, applying for jobs, and everything will end up in the main thing called as the interview, be it a telephonic round or an in-person or a Skype. So these are the critical closure time team. In today's industry, especially when it's QA professionals, they're struggling to get a phone call about an application that they've submitted. So they're waiting on them. And I say that if you're not getting phone call, then there is something wrong with your resume, not with you, because no one has spoken with you, no one has seen you. So your resume should be very strong. And when you put your best foot forward there and come to the interview portion, it becomes very critical, team. Like 3-4 points that I really wanted to speak about very quickly, in addition to what Priya was saying. My fundamental belief, again, telephonic or in-person interviews, that the more you get a chance to talk, the better the interview is going. I'm not saying that, be rude, stop others from talking and take the mic and start speaking. No, I'm saying that they should give you the permission to be able to speak clearly and effectively because they're listening, they're interested in what they're seeing. If they're not, then they'll ask you a few more questions and very quickly they'll end the conversation. So that is a good sign, team. It is all about having this conversation, all right? And when questions are being asked, anything technical, specifically with our QA automation side team, do not try and give we do the mock interviews, hopefully starting next week, as the resumes come through for JPAC. We'll go through on these things at length, team. And in these discussions, you should always show that you are someone who's adapting new technology skills that are relevant in today's world, and that is changing every time. We need to constantly have that zeal. So I think that is a big thing, team. Couple more points, team, before I end the session. One is that in an interview panel like Priya was referring to, there will be multiple people and you need to have proper eye contact with everyone, absolutely. But also know that each of them come from a different background. Let's say there's an HR person, they're evaluating you on different, will be the salary, how are you dressing up, is this person going to be someone we could hire for a full-time position or a long-term. QA manager may look at you more like, are you going to be a team player? Do you have the right skills? Are you someone who can finish tasks? A team lead or a senior automation engineer may look at specifically, does this person have the technical aspect? Or once we hire this person, do I have to sit and code, or will he or she do it for us? So they're evaluating on different levels and you need to cover them. So eye contact plus making sure that each and everyone is talking about different things. They have different priorities and agenda, and we're covering that. And the whole point is to make this conversation very comfortable for all parties. Let's say you're doing a telephonic interview. Guys, please ensure that it's a neat line, you do not have background noise, be prepared for the calls to come in, and so many things that Priya has mentioned about it in the same direction. Try and be early rather than late. Try and be prepared in terms of where you're going, who you're going to meet. Try and get to know about the project and company. Do some research. Very simple. It's just going to take you about 15-20 minutes to get the basic idea. It shows your keenness and eagerness. One of the first questions that I ask when I get people for interview, and I do many interviews, on an average I do 1 or 2 interviews every day. Sometimes there are 10 interviews in a day, sometimes at least 1 or 2 interviews every day I keep doing. And I ask them, do you know about the company? Do you know about what we're doing? That's the first thing that I ask. And 85% of the people say no, and that's a very bad start. That is something you have to really constantly work. Yes, I've seen it. I mean, I didn't get the whole idea, but this is what I know. That is important. That is one of the first questions that will be asked. All right? They'll talk about your project, your experience. Okay, tell me you use this word here. And be very honest. Say that, listen, put it in the resume. I did have an exposure to it, but I'm not an expert. Don't end your answer there. Then convert it and say, I have more expertise in Selenium, WebDriver, and I've built framework. Keep going back to you. They ask you a question that you're not aware. Say, I'm sorry, I've not worked on it. However, in another project, I did this. Just change the direction, try and get the mic full for you being the speaking point there. All right, team. So I'm sure there's so many people in the audience, over 75 people. It's already Friday night in the US, Saturday morning in India. So we didn't expect a large audience either way, but great turnout. And I'm absolutely sure, team, a lot of you will have questions while you have this and so on. And the Q&A session itself can take an hour, really. So please continue to do me the favor. I have posted the link. We will also share that link over the chat with you all. You should go to that the link that we shared, and please make sure that you put your questions there so we can continue to answer, and you'll get the notifications to answer on that. All right. And for JPAC team, this is more like a quick introduction of what kind of things that we need to really spring. So when we start to meet about the mock interviews and so on, we'll definitely go at length into that. Okay. All right. I'm good. Or questions before I move forward, please? Can you please elaborate on keywords in the resume? Give some examples of keywords. Sosha, definitely put it in the website. But keywords, basically, what are people searching for? That's a keyword. Now, you're searching for Selenium automation testing, or someone is looking for people with expertise on frameworks, or let's say they want to talk about someone who's got a TestNG expertise or Maven and so on. So these keywords that you have to have in proper sentences across your profile, and they should be distributed. So it shows that yes, this person has been in this specific thing for a while, has been working on that technology. Right? And team, again, like the other session, just to crunch this entire information into the 2 hours was tough for us, but hopefully we gave you the overall idea, and we will continue at length with the JPAC team. Okay, and JPAC team, if you're looking for templates for resumes or cover letters and so on, please write to Amulya and she will guide you. Okay, Amulya and Manoj. Okay, team, thank you so much, Amulya, Priya, Manoj, and ITeLearn team, and thank you all of you attendees to join. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in a future session. Bye all.
Thank you, Karthik. Bye all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.